How we doing, everyone? Samuel from United People's TV here with another live stream for you. Make sure you subscribe. We're going to be doing lots of these, hopefully every day, Monday to Friday. Share it, tell everyone about it, and thank you everyone for getting involved already. But the topic of today, Paul Pogba, and what is his best position at Man United? Because we've seen him play so far in more of a defensive midfield role, weirdly enough. Not really as such, but he's been playing in a midfield two alongside Marouane Fellaini. And I would argue we're not getting the best out of Paul Pogba at all. His best performance came in his debut against Southampton, where he ran the show, but he didn't run the show from defensive midfield. So I think there are basically three distinct options in terms of where you could play Pogba. You could either play him in a defensive midfield role, you could play him as a free roaming central midfielder, or you can play him in the number 10 role. I'm going to run through all three of those positions and maybe why you see the strengths in them. Defensive midfield. We saw Didier Deschamps Euro 2016 with France. That's where Paul Pogba was used. Not for all of the games, but moving towards the latter stage of the tournament, especially the final. You saw that he had Sissoko operating in a free roaming midfield role, and he looked very good. And he had Paul Pogba playing in a defensive midfield role, and he looked extremely limited. For a player of his talent and of his qualities, you can't restrict him to a defensive midfield role. That's my opinion. You might disagree. Let me know in the comments. But that is one position where he could play. Another one is where he played for Juventus. So Juventus used to play a midfield diamond. We all know about the diamond. One defensive midfielder, two central midfielders in front of him, and a number 10. He was more operating on the left centre mid position, a bit like where Di Maria used to play when we operated on the diamond. And that's where we saw the best of Pogba, alongside Pirlo and Marchisio. He had Marchisio being a more defensive midfielder, and it allowed Pogba to just concentrate on attacking. And that's where you really got the best out of him, because he is far too good to be held back in the defensive role. And his qualities as a player, running on the ball, his strength in possession, his ability to dribble as well, they really come to the fore when he's moving forward rather than being back in defence. It's not to say he can't defend, because he can track back, he can tackle, he can win the ball. But these are qualities that add to his attacking game rather than making him a defensive game that has attacking qualities to add on to that. I think it's the wrong way round if you put him in defensive midfield. So that's the second position he could play in. Third position, in the number 10 position, which we all know right now is occupied by Wayne Rooney. Now, Pogba could be ideally suited to that number 10 role. The reason why Juan Mata isn't particularly suited to that role as far as Mourinho is concerned is because he likes his number 10s to track back a bit and help in defence when necessary. But the number 10 role is the player who is most likely to be on the edge of the box when the ball drops and he needs a shot. That's Paul Pogba's territory. The number 10 is supposed to be the midfielder that bridges the midfield to the attack and is the player who links those two areas of the pitch. Paul Pogba's got the energy, the guile and the drive to do that position as well. And if you're looking as a playmaker, Paul Pogba has got excellent ball skills at his feet. Again, better than Rooney. This is not a Rooney slating video. This is looking at players who are more suited in certain positions. Pogba, Jose Mourinho says he wants specialist players in specialist positions. If that is his mantra, then he can't play Pogba in a midfield two with Fellaini, because we saw when Herrera came on the pitch against Man City how much of a difference that made to Manchester United, because Herrera sat in a deeper midfield role, just screening in front of the back four, and Pogba and Fellaini then went up towards the edge of the box and they were allowed to roam up there. And I think we saw the best out of Pogba in this, not the best, we saw a lot more out of Pogba in the second half than we did in the first half. Same with every other player, to be honest. But let me run through a few of your comments now, see what you guys have to say. We've got Red Jack saying, I want him in the number 10, making life hard, causing problems for opponents. As I said, I think Pogba's skill set is very much suited to that number 10 role, rather than the defensive midfield role. You want him to be on the end of a shot, not on the end of a tackle. You don't pay 95 million for tackles. Let's be honest, you don't. You pay it for goals. And Pogba has been brought into this team to add that. Yes, he's going to be a box-to-box midfielder. He's going to run up and down. But we want Pogba mainly in attack. And you're going to get that in a number 10 role much more than defensive midfield role. We've got Covenster saying, I really doubt Mourinho would change his formation. He changed his formation in the second half against Man City. So I'm going to have to disagree on that because he clearly saw the mistakes that he made in the first half and changed them for the second. Does that mean that he'll change to a 4-3-3 permanently? I'm not too sure about that. But he has showed his versatility in tactics by switching in that second half, which made all the difference. We've got one here from Dersha. Dersha. Oh my God, I'm sorry, I've just annihilated your name. Call you Dersha from now on. Said Pogba and Ander Herrera can play in midfield. And it brings into a question that I asked about a month ago. I asked you guys who you thought Paul Pogba's perfect midfield partner was. It wasn't Herrera, it wasn't Fellaini, it wasn't Carrick, it was Morgan Schneiderlin. Now, Schneiderlin hasn't played for Man United. Schneiderlin has disappeared off the face of the earth, a bit like Memphis Depay. Why is that? You're looking at Fellaini, who, as a footballer, is limited. His skill set and range is nowhere near as diverse and as strong as Morgan Schneiderlin. Yet Schneiderlin sits on the bench and doesn't play. If we're looking at my perfect midfield three, because I would play a three, I would play Schneiderlin as a deeper line midfielder, screening in front of the back four. You don't need him to go past the halfway line. His responsibility is protecting that defence, winning the ball back, and giving the ball to the two central midfielders in front of him, which would be Ander Herrera and Paul Pogba. Now, Ander Herrera is a criminally undervalued midfielder at Man United. Has been ever since he came. And I don't really know why. Because you saw in a derby, he's got commitment, he's got passion, which a lot of our players didn't in that game. But Herrera, more than that, has got ball skills, he's got dribbling ability, he's got an eye for a pass, he's like a more physical Juan Mata that's more suited to a central midfield role. And him alongside Paul Pogba is a dynamic duo that would very much go toe-to-toe with Kevin De Bruyne and David Silva. We saw how much of an impact those sorts of midfielders can have if they've got the ability to just free roam and they have somebody behind them, such as Fernandinho or Schneiderlin, that can concentrate on defensive duties. And I don't know if Mourinho is getting the most out of his midfielders at the moment in the current formation and the current players he's using. Marion Anthony saying, do you think Pogba should be paired with Big Fellaini? And maybe Schneiderlin could work because of the French chemistry. We could have a little Vive la France French Revolution with Martial, Schneiderlin and Pogba all in the same starting 11. And I'll be honest, all three of them would be in my starting 11. Not simply because they're French, because I think they're our best players in their certain positions. Do I think he should be paired with Fellaini? Not from the start. I think that Fellaini can be an excellent asset to this team. I've always said that if he's used in the right way. I don't think from the start in every single game is the right way. And I think at the moment we're relying on Fellaini a bit too much when his overall game is a bit limited. And it's not to say he's a shit footballer. I do think he's quite a bad footballer. But I think Schneiderlin offers so much more. And I think we need that touch of class much more than we do Fellaini's big burly shoulders and flailing elbows. Clive Morgan here saying in a three-man midfield. I agree completely. We need a three-man midfield. And I think that will definitely get the most out of Paul Pogba because you've got to get the most out of Pogba. Why do you spend 90 million if you're going to force him to play in a position that doesn't let him excel? Doesn't make any sense. More comments here. One from Adam Brady. Who partners up with Bailey, Blind or Smalling? Everybody knows my opinion on this now. It is Chris Smalling. Smalling was our best player last year. Let's not forget that, people. He was fantastic at centre-back. Daley Blind's been excellent so far, but he is limited in his overall ability as a defender. That's a very powerful centre-back partnership. We had Smalling and Bailey, sorry. Smalling last year, he would always throw himself into those headers that would come over from goal kicks. He would always throw himself in to win it, and Bailly is exactly the same. That's what you want in your two centre-backs. Daley Blind, for all his intelligence and his excellence as a footballer, is limited in terms of the actual skill sets of a defender. In terms of winning the ball back in possession, forcing players off the ball. The Premier League is physical. Daley Blind is not physical. We've got Mihail here saying Fellaini is more of a situational player. Perfect analogy there. He is. We use Fellaini at the right time. Say last 15 minutes of a game, we've been playing fluid attacking football and we can't break through the defence. You bring on Fellaini, you start knocking more direct balls into the box and you wait for the knockdowns. That's when you use Fellaini. Not every single game in a starting central midfield role. Man United Salford Reds saying Mourinho played 4-3-3 at Inter and used it at Madrid. An excellent point as well. He's a manager who has not always stuck to 4-2-3-1. And if you remember, at the start of his reign at Chelsea is when he used Robin and Duff on the wings. You know, he's a manager who has changed over his career and is not completely stuck in his ways, and that's helped him adapt to the leagues he's won. Remember, he's won it in Portugal, England, Italy, and Spain. You know, and I think he can do that at United, and I would like to think he's got that tactical versatility, like he showed in that second half against Man City, to get the most out of his players. Because remember, he bought those players because they are specialist players in specialist positions. His words, not mine. But, I mean, we could talk about this all day. Thank you all for your comments. Make sure you subscribe to United People TV, please. We'll be back tomorrow with another live video. Leave some comments on these videos. What live videos and live conversations would you like me to discuss? Do you want me to discuss who should partner Daily Blind centre-back maybe? Let me know in the comments what videos you want me to go through. We'll see you all very, very soon. Obviously, we've got Feyenoord on Thursday. It's going to be a big game. Hopefully, we can make up for the loss that we had at the weekend and come away with 3 points and get the Europa League off to a good start. We'll see you all very, very soon. So let me just end this like that. Take it easy, everyone.